In this episode, we will show you how to paint like the artists of the CoBrA movement by looking closely at the work of KAREL APPEL. Welcome to RijksCreative. In this course, we will take you on a journey through art history. We will show you the techniques of the old masters, from the Renaissance up to modern time. Let's check in with our expert, Ludo van Halem. Hello, Ludo.
Hello.
Who was KAREL APPEL, and why is his work so typical for his time?
Well, KAREL APPEL was one of the most controversial young painters after the Second World War in the Netherlands. He painted with much vigor in bold brushstrokes, and sometimes he even flung his paint directly from the tube on the canvas. And he painted in bright, vibrant colors. And from this orgy of paint there emerged people and animals who look at you with burning eyes, begging, sometimes screaming for attention. And he tried to paint as spontaneously as children do, and by doing so he tried to purify art from the blemishes of a past war.
Alright, let's get messy.
This is a painting by KAREL APPEL. It's called Square Man. He made it in 1951, so it's 68 years ago. It's a long time ago. I'm even younger than that. Appel, by the way, was a very trained painter, a classical trained painter, but his inspiration were always the drawings of children. I start with azure blue. We're gonna hit the canvas with a palette knife. It's going too slow, so we're gonna put it directly on the canvas. It's a square man. First layer. It's a square man, so we're gonna make a square, more or less. We take darker blue. I use oil paint, of course. But you also can use acrylics or whatever you want. But I'm going to use oil paint because that's what I like more. Cerulean blue. But you can, with this kind of paintings, you can choose your own colors, whatever you want. Let's see, because he's square at the moment, but we have to make his legs longer. With this paint. So, but now I want another color. So I like blue, but I like red also. So why not take permanent red, a bit to emphasize here. So just I want them to have the legs. Never spill your paint. And you see when you use the brush on the wet paint, it's by stroking the texture changes. Then when you use the brush, it's going to be soft. And when you use the knife, it's going to be hard. So I want to have his eyes. And the eyes I'm going to make out of orange. But I know when I make orange in blue, it becomes brown. So first, I'll scrape it. So it's really noticing what happens with the paint, how does the paint look like, what kind of structure, what kind of texture. And just go along with what you like. With the cadmium orange, I'm gonna say, okay, this is the window. Like this. Look how nice. And because I have some orange left, so why not use it here? Same way, softly. Balls. The nose. I want them to have a nose, but what kind of color shall I use for nose? I want to have the nose in red, but also orange. And now, just to try out things, because I'm curious, I want to know how does it look when I mix it a bit. Look at this. That's nice. Still got some paint left, so I'm going to use this, because here for the composition, orange, orange, zzz, orange here. Just clean your brush and you get another structure. Plok, plok, as a nose, an eye. But how do I want the structure of that? Now I'm going to use my thumb. Look. Here also. The nice thing about painting like this, you can paint with everything. What I'm going to do now, and that's something Appel always did. When you think, okay, now it's becoming a sort of figurative thing, and I just want to go on painting. So I need to lose the whole figurative thing, because I wanted me to concentrate on the composition. So I turn it around. So the whole man thing isn't bothering me anymore, so now I'm going to look more at the composition. And what I need for the composition, you see this is on the half, this goes up there, so I need something to go over there. But what kind of color? I'm going to paint this, light or green, because I want to have another structure, something that looks nice, but also is different as the structures I already have. Okay, now I need my man back. So I'm gonna turn it around again. So, okay, wow. I want to have more details. So I don't like this. It's too, I'm gonna make it more deep. So I'm gonna be more precise. Have a smaller brush. Cadmium yellow. Cadmium yellow. It's a sort of Donald Duck yellow. A surface also has to look like you really paid attention to it. So it's not, everything is not about just doing it quick. Always show in your painting that you're doing it in a concentrated way. Concentrated. square man. Gray. Watch this. This is kind of strange. You let yourself be inspired by things that happen on the canvas. I want to get into the mouth. So what I'm going to use, I want to have a sort of darker part. I'm not going to use black yet. Oxide yellow. A little bit more. Yes, let's give him some hands. Okay, now I'm going to clean up a bit. At first I'm going to clean it up a bit with the green. You don't want your colors to be a mess. So be careful. If you do all things on top of each other, it will be a mess. So you have to really watch out what you're doing. And especially in this phase. There comes the dick. You need something in the middle which is strange, which is different as the rest is. So you see, I'm stroking very softly, and it's all about the texture. And what I need now is, I want something lighter in here, but not white. King blue. A brush. And this brush, I'm gonna put white on top of it, and then I'm gonna mix it. Now I'm gonna use my palette knife again. Let's scrape this off. You see different structures. So, and that's almost like an eyebrow. So let's make it an eyebrow. Yeah, so now I made a combination of colors, and that's so it's more the background and the different structures in the paint. And now I have to bind it together by using black and making a drawing on top of it. So now you're going to bind all the different layers together. I have to make certain parts more in one tone. It's too busy. It's too loud. So, what I've done now, I've been making it more quiet, so large parts, again with the palette knife to make it quiet, but also to make differences between the structure of the paint, like here, like here, like here. So in a way, what I want, and you see that also in the painting of Appel, it's not only the differences in color, but it's also very much about the differences in structure, the structure of the paint. So, for instance, here I do this with the thumb. This is with the palette knife, with the brush. Here it's straight out of the tube. So now I'm going to continue finishing the painting by using the different techniques I have in my hand over here.
Well, that was fun. See you next time, Ruud.
See you next time.